Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Kayla. Today I'm going to show you how to can up some ground hamburger meat. You could also use the same process for ground turkey as well, or any other ground meat that you have. I like ground sausages. I've done that before too. We'll get these canned up in pint-sized jars. Now I have 4 of them out because I cooked up 4 pounds of ground hamburger meat. And there's a saying about a pint is a pound the world around. So typically about a pound in a pint jar. But you know, it's more or less depending on the fat content of the meat. If you truly wanted to get a pound of meat in there, then I suggest you use a kitchen scale. But I feel like if I have about a pound-ish, it makes it go further rather than just having like 3 pints. I can get 4 out of it and we can have 4 meals worth instead of just 3. So I've got my funnel. I'm just gonna scoop in some of this hamburger meat into each of them. And then once I get them up to that 1-inch headspace, we'll kind of pack it down a little bit, kind of move some of the air around. I feel like make your food go further if you can, especially the times that we're in right now. We'll get as much as we can. Now sometimes I have wound up with a little bit more, because if I don't pack it down too much. So I mean, honestly, unless you're just a stickler for having to have a pound of food, then, you know, make it work. That's what we're doing. We're just making it work, trying to feed our families as best we can. Alright, so now we're going to add water to get up to that 1-inch headspace. Good. Now if you wanted to add seasoning to it, I recommend doing it after. Just because you have to add all this liquid, and if you wanted to make it like taco meat or chili meat or something like that, it's going to be really diluted. So I figure, why not give yourself the best variety and just be able to have just plain hamburger meat that you can do whatever you want to with it. Now I went around all the sides and debubbled, got all the little air bubbles out. I'm going to top it off. Get back to my little ring, 1-inch headspace. There we go. We've got our clean paper towel. Clean off our rims again. Don't want to leave any of that hamburger meat or grease on the rim. Make sure we get a good seal. Good. We'll put our lids on. Try to center them up as best I can on the rim. And then we'll get some rings. I found the easiest way for me to store my rings, paper towel holder. We'll just put our rings on, kind of finger tight. Don't want to go too much. Might wind up buckling the lid under all that pressure with the air trying to escape. We'll make sure we give it room. Now I'm going to put these in my electric canner. So let me move you around to show you how to do that. All right, so this is an electric pressure canner. Instead of having to use the stove one, we can just plug this in, set it to what we need, and forget it, honestly. Like those infomercials from way back when, you just kind of set it and forget it, really. So I've got our jars in there, put my water up to level. I can make a video specifically how to run and work this, but I just want to get the process going so we can get this meat done. So this little square here, we're going to line it up on install the lid, close to lock it. I'm going to turn this little lever down. Now we're ready to go. So we're going to pressure can. Then we're going to do this for 75 minutes for a pint. Now typically these have multiple steps to go through. You would insert your jars, hit play, it would warm them up, you take them out, you put your food in, you put them back in, you heat the whole thing. I'm just going to skip ahead since I've already got the food loaded in there to heat. So it will now start warming all of this up, bring it up to pressure. We'll start seeing the steam come out. Then it'll start a countdown timer for us and beep, telling us when we need to put the weight on and start the process. But literally this is all we're going to do until it beeps and tells us what to do next. All right, so the sensor and our little green part has determined that the temperature is at the correct temp to be able to start our venting countdown. So just like we would with the stovetop, we're gonna wait and have all of this steam and vent for 10 minutes, no 8 more minutes, before we put our weight on. And then that will start the clock. It'll build up the pressure and then start the clock once it reaches the accurate pressure. So we'll just wait for it to beep at us. Okay, so it has finished venting. It's telling us what to do next. Put the regulator on. So we're just gonna grab our weight and just pop it right on. We're gonna make sure that we have it to can and not vent. And then we'll just hit start. So now it'll continue to release pressure or release steam until our pin up here comes up. And then it will build that pressure, and when it gets to be enough, the timer will start. And that's all we have to do. We don't have to watch it. We don't have to do anything to it. It will just maintain itself. So our electric canner just finished the 75 minutes. So now it's going to automatically go into a cool down mode. And we'll just wait for that to get done. That pin up there will drop, and then it'll come across the screen done. So we'll just keep waiting. So the canner says it's done. So we're gonna lift up our sensor and turn it open and open away from our face and our body. So we do not want to get burned. All of that. Now I did put some extra jars in here that just have water in here to help take up some of the space. So that is our hamburger meat. It looks good. Looks good. You can see it's still bubbling in there. It's super duper hot. Looks like they haven't sealed yet. But that's okay. We've got time. Let's get our little grabbers. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. Yeah. Cooked, canned, ready to go for whatever meal we want to use it with. Perfect. Now, oh, that one just popped. There is all that liquid on the bottom. This will eventually settle down. It'll just take some time, but it will eventually settle. Same with that one. It'll settle. There we go. Bubbling a little bit. just leave those two in here. That's fine. They'll be fine. Yeah, all these wonderful jars of hamburger meat. Be ready to go for a meal. It's 5 meals that we already have ready to go. Now we'll let these sit for 24 hours and cool all the way down before we take off the rings and check the seals. If they don't seal, then we can go ahead and process them again for the same time. Hopefully they all seal though. But we could always reseal it, try to reseal it, or just go ahead and use it, stick it in the fridge and use it that night or the next night for dinner. After 24 hours, I took the ring off, checked the lid. Seems sturdy, seems like it's sealed up. Now we'll just give it a good wash and label it and store it on the shelf.